Benrus are actually a heritage American brand, even though their watches are now made in Switzerland. They were actually founded here in New York, which I think is really very cool. Today we're going to take a look at a reissue from the brand from their 1960s, 1970s catalog. It's a dive watch called the Sea Lord, and I think they got the details really spot on this watch, and I'm very excited to show it to you guys. So let's flip the camera and take a look at the Sea Lord from Benrus. There were a ton of watches at the Wind Up Watch Fair here in New York this past October. One of the best dive watches that I saw at that fair this year has to be the Sea Lord from Benrus. It's a really faithful re-edition of their 1970s diver, and I have one here hands-on to show you guys. Before we go on, I do want to mention that my hands are still pretty chopped up. My son was attacked and bitten by a dog, actually broke his arm and needed surgery, and I needed to fight off the dog, and my hands got pretty beat up in the process. He is okay, he had surgery, and he is recovering, he is happy, and he will be fine. The doctors did everything they could for him, and his arm will be fine. So we are very, very happy and very lucky. Anyway, I'm back to making videos. I was away for a little while. I had a lot of videos in the chamber, so now I am back to making videos, and I am very happy to be back. So, very quickly, here is the Benrus Sea Lord. You can see what I'm talking about immediately. It's a good-looking dive watch, very straightforward. You have very straightforward indices. The bezel is very straightforward. There's nothing over the top about this watch. If you want a simple, good-looking dive watch, this is a simple, good-looking dive watch. You have a ceramic bezel insert, which I believe is lumed. I'm not entirely sure, but we will do a lume shot at the end. You have a black, sort of sunburst dial, almost metallic dial, but it's not a matte color. It looks really good. And then you have applied indices. Those are filled with lume as well. They're all old radium colored. So even the indices on the bezel, the hands, and of course the applied indices, those all have somewhat of an old radium in them, I believe. The hands are stick hands. Those are filled with lume as well. No date, and there's no ghost date position. It says Sea Lord right there above the 6 o'clock, right below the 12 o'clock index, Benrus. That is it. Of course, it says Swiss made at the bottom, so a little bit more text there, but they didn't put the water resistance rating, which is 300 meters, by the way. They didn't do that. They didn't put it on the dial. They didn't say anything else on the dial. I like that. Very straightforward and simple. Of course, the bezel action is excellent on here. Really nice. I have to say, everything lines up perfectly. Of course, they didn't only get the design right, they also got the proportions right. I think this is very similar in size to the original Benrus Sea Lord. So let's do quick measurements here. This should be around 40 millimeters, so 39.6 millimeters. The crown, 6.9 millimeters, and it is signed Benrus right there. Thickness on here for a 300 meter dive watch, under 12 millimeters thick, and then the lug to lug. This also is available on a bracelet. I think the green dial variant is available on the bracelet. I think this is also available on a bracelet, but they sent it over on the Tropic rubber strap. 46.5 millimeters. I don't know what the bracelet is like, whether or not you have a male or female end link. On the buckle here, you have a really nice milled buckle that is signed Benrus, and it also has polishing and brushing, so it's a very nice buckle. On the case back, you have their logo, and then it just says Swiss made Benrus Sea Lord 30 ATM, because it's a 300 meter dive watch. That portion is brushed. The case back itself is polished. Very vintage looking case back. Really well done. The crown is sort of bead blasted while the case is brushed and polished. All in all, I think they did a great job with reissuing this watch. Of course, you get a sapphire crystal as well. I didn't mention that. And again, I don't know what the lume is like on here, but we're going to check that out in just a second. Let's talk about the movement. The movement in here is a SOPROD movement. They're actually using a P024. This is a movement that I actually had to look up because I rarely see this movement. I have seen it in the past, but I haven't seen it in a while. It's actually an ETA 2824 clone that SOPROD make, and I believe they actually still sell. They've come out with other movements, but I believe they still sell it. So it's essentially a 2824 that you're getting inside of this watch. Very similar movement, sort of like an SW200, if you like. However, it comes from SOPROD, so SOPROD is a really good movement manufacturer. This is actually a very reliable movement as well. Very quickly, let me throw it on my wrist, then we're going to talk about price, and of course, we will do a lume shot. Today, I have on my Tag Heuer 510-501. This is a vintage watch that I have had for a little while now, and I absolutely love it. I've been wearing it a lot lately because I just really love this watch. It doesn't fit over my hands very well. I always have a problem taking it off and putting it on, but all in all, a real pleasure to wear that watch. So here is the Benrus on my 7.5 inch. Like I said, this is like a 39.5 millimeter watch. It's essentially 39 millimeters at the case and the bezel. I also like they only put one keeper on here. It's just one large keeper. I like that. So it's like a 40 millimeter watch, but it has a pretty short lug span, and of course it's only 11.9 millimeters thick, so it's not a very thick dive watch for a watch that has 300 meters of water resistance. So that's pretty damn good. You do have a pretty large crown on here as well, which is nice. The bezel is ceramic and it is engraved also. I just want to point that out. I think that engraving is filled with lume, so we will do a lume shot. Price on this, I think regularly is like $1,000 or something like that. But right now they have it for $796. I think that's an excellent price for this watch, considering you're getting the Benrus name, the history behind it. You're getting a Swiss-made watch, Swiss automatic, and it's really good-looking, straightforward design here. So if you're in the market for something like a micro brand diver, this is a really good alternative to something like that, because you are getting, history. So that's something that micro brands are missing. So if you care about that sort of thing, this is pretty cool. And it's also really good looking and well made, Swiss made. So very quickly, a lume shot. Well, there you go. The lume is really good on here. The entire bezel is lumed, so that's actually pretty impressive. The hands and indices are liberally applied with lume. The only thing I would say is that I wish there was a little bit of lume on the second hand. That might be in keeping with the original design, and maybe that's the reason why they didn't put lume on the second hand. Other than that, really nice, very nicely applied. And I am impressed. I'm glad that they actually lumed the bezel. I think that's pretty awesome. They used all the same tone lume as well, so it's very even looking. I really like it. It looks sort of patinaed. They did a good job here. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. What do you think of Benrus? What do you think of this re-edition? How they went sort of straightforward with it and didn't mess around with the design and just came out with a re-edition that was very faithful to the original. I like when a brand do that, and I think they did a good job here. Tell me down in the comments below. Please also don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel and I very much appreciate it. Please follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is WatchChrisBlog, all one word. I have some links in the description. Those links are to Amazon. If you click those links and buy anything, it helps support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra. However, I very much appreciate it. Anyway, thank you for logging on. I'll catch you guys in the next video.